Do
I
it.
let her just fucking throw it at my people. Dude, thank you so much, Jason. I'm so psyched to be in the space with you and to be able to pick apart the wealth of knowledge that you are. First I want to say shout out to our boy Chase Tuning who connected us.
Yeah.
He's so wonderful and he just knows, who's going to vibe well and in addition to that, and I had mentioned this to you in a little bite-sized conversation that we had recently, him introducing us was not the first time that I was in awareness of you. I've heard some incredible conversations that you've had with the boys at Mind Pump. And, I have to say, as someone who is an absolute geek in, biology, physiology, neuroscience, and all things that really pertain to self-mastery and there are some people who really just have a voice that stands out, not just because of the information that they're putting out, which is powerful and, high quality evidence is something I'm really focused on. Also delivery. And one of the things I just want to set the fucking table with here is that I really appreciated about you is that it just everything is very passionate and authentic, and it's not fucking scripted. Like, your shit, but you deliver it. I can feel from such a place of, just wanting to really support your community and all who are, integrated and involved with you. So I just wanted to start by saying that, I really appreciate that about you and let that, be kind of like the environment that's going to take us into this cerebral adventure right now.
I massively appreciate it. I mean, for those people that are on video with us, they can see the shirt. It says impact over everything, right? I mean, that's what I live by. But it's so funny. You're just so kind. You say I have like this wealth of knowledge. And ironically, if you were to put me on the spot and you'd say like, how have you achieved success and how have you achieved influence in this world? I would actually argue it's because I'm not that smart. I actually think like I only know a few things, but I know them really, really well. And I like if you were to go into like my story about building a business,
Yeah.
I I'm stupid when it comes to most things in life. I genuinely care about human beings. I genuinely care about seeing them become better. And then obviously at one point I was challenged with an eating disorder and I was forced to overcome it. And so like that was really like my catalyst for change. And so my vehicle of creating impact in this world has always been health and fitness. If you asked me to go in the financial world or the politics world, like I would be lost. I would suck. I would live in poverty. Like it is what it is. I'm not that intelligent of a human being, but I'm really good at the health and fitness stuff. I love the health and fitness stuff. And so I've been really fortunate that my passion has allowed me to live a certain lifestyle. And if nothing else, man, when I started this whole journey, I had a corporate job. I was doing well. And I land like I don't know if I've ever told this story publicly. I landed like on a plane. I grabbed like this phone and I sent in my resignation letter with no meaning as to like why, right? Outside of the fact that the guy across the aisleway, he asked me questions about nutrition. And when we landed, I was so lit up. I'm like, why am I doing this corporate bullshit? Why am I not following my passion? Send in a resignation letter to a $200,000 job for nothing, no backup plan, nothing. And like, if that doesn't typify my approach to everything, I don't know what does, but it at least sets the stage. I'm massively humbled, grateful, and just honored to share this platform with you. Again, shout out to our boy Chase for the connection. And even in the that we've had, man, like our vibe is dope. And so I think that hopefully the next hour or so, people are really going to get a lot out of, and I hope I can bring as much value as possible.
I mean, you already just served so many fucking home runs right there. First of all, one of the things I wanted to start with is that you have one of your hashtags is impact over everything. And that was something that I wanted to ask you right out the gate. Like, what does that even mean? I want to ask you that, but I have to come in and I'm such a fucking rabbit hole. I got to pull on a couple of strings here because I need to say, and I can't help it because this is my passion and really like an innate talent. You say, and I know it's a form of being humble, but words are an experience, so I pick at them. You're really nutrition and health are like these are your passions, but if you go into finance or politics, it's like you're stupid. I think it's really that when we are passionate about whatever it is, we just fucking apply ourselves on a whole nother level. The day that you decide that that's your shit, you're gonna apply yourself on a whole nother level. And one thing I can add to that that really kind of validates it is one of the parts of conversation that I'm excited to have with you is that you are the coach of coaches, right? So
Mhm.
I mean, you literally just came off of an event that was super successful and you've built a really successful business. I mean, you started as a health coach, but I mean, you're a fucking incredible entrepreneur now, and it's on a whole nother level. And so you've had to, you know, maybe it's not a full focus on finance, but to operate a business,
Sure.
it's a sport.
Yeah,
It's a right. And so,
absolutely.
and we're going to talk about that because there's some powerful things, I mean, I think we can both agree that nutrition, fitness, business, the mindset skill transfers that take place, like there's so many metaphors that you can use, like the example of calories and diet as it pertains to money or vice versa. There's just so much crossover that I often use as metaphors. And I'm sure, yeah, I mean, would you feel the same way? Like
Well, it's really funny. I think that, and I'm sure it pertains to most industries, but obviously my exposure is the business world and the nutrition coaching world, right? Like, and so, like you said, like my background is in just nutritional coaching individuals, and then obviously I crossed over into the business world. The number of parallels and mirrors that I see are absurd, and almost to the point that I think they're the same.
Mhm.
And again, I haven't spent time in very many other industries, so I couldn't speak directly to it, but to imagine that they're there as well. You know, all things in life end up being somewhat similar. And, the one thing I can say inside the business world is I don't think business is that complicated. And I don't think that nutrition is that complicated. But the application of the simplification is where the complication lives.
That's
Right.
so good.
And and so it's like that's where people get caught up. And
Mhm.
and that's where the modern marketer has kind of ruined us,
Mhm.
because they recognize that there's a perceived complexity to it all,
Yeah.
and they want to dig pain at that perceived complexity,
Mhm.
and they want to prevent solutions that are very short-sighted,
Mhm.
and they don't really take into account an ecosystem, and that's in business, right? But if we look at nutrition,
Mhm.
and we it's really the same thing. And
Yeah.
so nutrition is very simple at its core. It should
Mhm.
be anyway. It's not
Yeah.
complex, but your everyday dieter today, they perceive it to be extremely complex. And
Right.
so marketers now dig at that complexity. They dig at the failures you've experienced. And
Mhm.
and what do they talk about? They talk about things that are very short-sighted in nature. Losing weight
Mhm.
today, losing weight this week, losing inches this month, right? And so they dig they put band-aids on a much larger problem.
Right.
Now, if we were to take a step back and zoom out and look at the whole ecosystem that is the human being and is the nutritional status, right?
Mhm.
All of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, everything that's being marketed is actually not much of a solution at all. It is a
Mhm.
component of a much larger solution that needs to be understood. And that's where it's like, oh my gosh, like this is happening in business, this is happening in nutrition, and it's crazy to me. And I love it because, again, like my passion in that journey
Yeah.
and being able to pick that apart and being able to connect with other people, that's been dope.
That's amazing. Okay, so just so I don't lose that, I really wanted to ask you, what does impact over
Yeah.
everything mean?
Um, it's words. So when I left, for those that don't know my background story, I'll be really quick.
No, please take your time. I mean, as much
So
time as you need.
I was an anorexic at 18,
Mhm.
and at that time in my life um I thought I was gonna be a professional golfer, right? Like that was everything.
Yeah.
And so I went, and I went through the whole anorexia thing. I was literally 48 hours from like a clinical intervention, like my family and my doctor. And I overcame that, and I changed my major in school, like, went and got a degree exercise science, fitness and nutrition. And um when I was at school, people started asking for my help.
Mm.
And I was never a financial thing. And I at that moment, I knew that this world of health and fitness had changed my life. And I made a declaration to myself in that moment: I will always choose impact over everything. And so I didn't know what it was I was going to do in life. I had no idea. I actually ended up turning pro playing golf like a year later. So
Oh
like
my
while I was away at Florida State, I was like, fuck this whole college life thing. I'm going to get really good at golf again. And I turned pro and traveled the world for 2 years. I was the worst professional golfer ever, by the way. Um,
God.
but I did do that. And I just said, no matter what the vehicle is, I'm going to change lives. I want to change lives. And you know, I've watched the Tony Robbins of the world, the Jim Rohns of the world, and I've always been like, man, like it was never fame, it was never anything like that, but it was like that impact, like it just drew me in, like watching, like sitting in a room full. I was at Funnel Hacking Live last year, sitting in a room with 6,000 people, and
Mhm.
everybody was like glued to every word Tony Robbins said. And I was like, man, I want that level of impact. And
Mhm.
so it's always been my thing. So whether it's me here, whether it's Chase, you know, helping podcasters, whether it's nutrition coaches helping their clients, whether it's doctors helping their patients, you know, whatever. I
Mhm.
don't care. I love to network with the people that are creating and choosing impact over everything in their lives. And when you make that choice, it's amazing how life opens up for you. And so it's three words that I've lived by. It's three words that I'll promote until the day I die. And it's the rally cry of my community. You know, we call ourselves the Army of Impact. And
Mm.
you know, we've at this point we're super fortunate. We've put 5,000 coaches through a program, and
Wow.
you know, we got a big old army out there that are choosing impact over everything and improving the health status of a nation. You know, I mean, you just look at where we are, man. It's crazy. You know, it's something that's just so needed, and it's something I'm excited to lead.
Yeah, that's so amazing. It's really beautiful and powerful. And it resonates with me for sure because I mean that's where my brand was built from and
Yeah.
podcasts, everything under the brand, it's realizing that you have this innate ability and passion that supports individuals to, rise and thrive in their life in whatever capacity, depending on who you are. And so it really does that resonates powerfully with me. One thing that I want to, really just start the conversation with now is I want to go back actually to when you said, you had an eating disorder and, essentially I'm a firm believer that if it's not purpose, it's at least passion uh, that is developed oftentimes when we reach a real deep level of pain, right? Like something fucking happens in your life that puts you in this position where you just I don't know you now you're look for example when I was 17 I blew my knee out, 3 surgeries, taekwondo. I'm going to move through this fast. And, prior to that, I'm a fucking mesomorph. I always had an 8 pack. Like it's just my genes, my family, whatever. American diet, fast forward a couple years later, I had no mobility in my knee, da 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 da, gained all this weight. I had no tools. Like I wasn't a geek like I am now. I never had to, I was young. And essentially, like in hindsight, it's what really put me on the path to discover all of these passions and really drove me to my purpose, like so biology, neuroscience, and really empowering. So when we think purpose, it's like I'm here to fucking empower individuals, specifically in my business, women, to reach for that fullest potential in their life, right, and to thrive. So but if I trace it all back, and I love doing that, right, like peel the layers, it's like, man, that pain that I lived with in all those years of trying to essentially kind of get to homeostasis where I was overweight and that was a huge driver. So I want to go back there, if you're cool with it, and
Yeah.
just kind of pick apart that because it's almost like that was the starting point, right? And then after you would, do the whole resignation and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they say in life you're not given more than you can handle, right? And so it's it was always intriguing to me because at that time, you know, it's I've only recently started to talk about it, but that time it also drove me into like being suicidal. And you know, it um anybody that undertakes an eating disorder, there's something else going on, right? Like I don't think anybody has a negative relationship with food. I tend to think that most people have a negative relationship with themselves or with something else in their life, and the vehicle becomes a negative relationship with food. And that's obviously what happened to me. You know, for me, I had very low self-confidence. I was looking for an outlet to increase my confidence. I was looking for validation, and I was looking to be wanted, needed, desired. And so I thought that changing my body would be that vehicle. If I changed my body, I would become more desired and more liked and more alpha, or, you know, whatever at
Yeah.
those times. And, you know, I look back on it now, and I would never, ever in my wildest dreams wish that on my own worst enemy, because here we are today. That was 18 years later. I'm 36. To sit here and lie to you and say that I don't still at moments have anorexic tendencies,
Mhm.
I there would be a complete lie, right? And I think anybody that's battled an eating disorder will tell you that it's, first of all, it's a nervous system disorder, right? Anorexia is anorexia nervosa, right? It is a nervous system issue. Like, you don't just rewire your brain, right? You just tend to channel that energy a little bit better. And so really, like, the solution with, like, most things is awareness. And so I'm always aware of the subsequent repercussions of the actions that follow the thoughts. And so it was put in my life because now, if you look at the movement that I've led, right, I look at my nutritional approach and we call it the connection based model. And when I first came into the space and I coached lots of individuals 7, 8 years ago, my big unique opportunity was that I was like, listen, you don't need another diet, you don't need more macros, you don't need to learn how to eat healthier. You need somebody to fucking lean on, right? You need connection to a human being. You need connection to your plan. And so everything we do, it comes back to connection. And I think when I look back to that, like, I go through that disconnected from the world, disconnected from my parents, disconnected from my siblings, disconnected from friends, significant others, like, you name it. I lacked every ounce of connection. But as I went through it, what did I do? Well, I hired every professional under the sun, right? And what did that do to me? It exposed all the holes in the system. So here I was, the single most broken person, in a firsthand experience, then learning from the professionals in the space, seeing what lacked. And yet here we are today. And I fundamentally overhauled so much of what happened in the nutritional space in the last 8 years. And it's like, I was given those things as a gift. And I was given them as, you're strong enough, you'll make it through, just go. And I'm eternally grateful for it. But like I said, I would never turn around and wish it, right? I think every major leader in life has something they've overcome. And I think they would all tell you, just like you started this off with, that was the catalyst for their success. It was not whatever drew them backwards. It's like a slingshot, right? How do you propel something infinite distances forward? You got to pull that motherfucker really far back, right? And so for us to slingshot in life, we got to be pulled pretty far back. And it just sucks at the time, but you get through it, you persevere, and you succeed.
Well, it sucks at the time for sure. And I think it's also important to kind of just, bring to the attention that you didn't become a victim of your circumstances. And if anything, you leveraged it as an opportunity for you to grow and for you to, now be, to move yourself down this whole other path where, you discovered your passions. And I mean, listen, to go back to the resignation on the phone, a very safe, in quotations, because I laugh at that concept, right? Well-paid job, and then have, with no plan and a fucking uncertain terrain, but you're like, I'm going like that. And that's something that's a through line in my brain. I talk about, like, that's a fucking level of self-trust. That's a level of just awareness and connection that, I hope everybody integrates at some point, if not for most of their life. But that couldn't have necessarily have been easy for you in the moment, but you still took action. And just so I'm clear, because I'm like watching a movie, what was the timeline between the coming out of the eating disorder and then that moment for you?
It was quite long, right? And so from the
Okay.
time I came out of the eating disorder, obviously I had a lot of growth to do physically and, like, as a person. And so, you don't go from anorexic, and I achieved a lot of, like, cool, like, bucket list things in between there, right? Like, so graduated college, like, I went out and I lived in LA. I played professional golf. Like, I did some cool things, right? I became a sponsored, like, fitness model. And so, but really at the core of it, I fucked around for 10 years, right? Like, I was like, oh, this online coaching thing. Okay, cool. Like, I made $4,000 this month. That's enough to pay my rent and my groceries. And, like, cool, I'm gonna keep fucking off. And, like, and I actually, like, like, I found myself at a point where I'm like, what am I actually doing? And I actually, uh right after this, hit rock bottom, right? But I had this opportunity, right? I was doing online coaching, and a company in Arizona, they basically said to me, like, hey, come out, we have 600 clients, we want you to be like you be the person to do nutrition for all of them. I'm like, what an amazing opportunity. They were all in my target market. I'm like, this is super cool. Moved out to Arizona on a whim. And I got there, and, like, I'm very, obviously, if anyone's heard me talk anywhere, like, I'm never short to speak my mind. And I went in their building and I'm like, great, you guys are like a $4 million company. I'm like, you're leaving like $10 million a year on the table. I'm like this place is so poorly run. And I just openly said it. And it wasn't like an attack. I just was like, guys, like you could
Yeah.
really be doing better. And they were like, tell us more. And so I actually got hired as the GM. Like that was the big paying job. Is they're like, prove yourself. Okay, cool. I made them a bunch of money literally in 1 week. And they're like, all right, you know your shit. Let's do it. So that's where I took the job. And I like there's probably a 12-year gap, right?
Yeah.
And for me at the time, I thought I was chasing finance. I really did. I was like, oh, I made it up the ladder. I'm $200,000. You know, I come from nothing. Like I come from lower middle class. Like
Mhm.
my parents didn't graduate college. They worked their asses off to get to where they were. Like, I mean, if nothing else, they set the best example in the world of what work ethic is. I'm eternally grateful to both of them. But you know, it was I thought I made it. And you know, I rested for like months, like uneasy, right? And I was like, why if I made it, am I not happy? And so that like that was the pivotal moment is I was on a plane and happiness came into my life fleeting for like 20 minutes. And I
Mm.
just acted on impulse on that moment because something inside of me was like, that's what you're supposed to have in life, right? Fuck the money, fuck the security. Like that is what you're supposed to have, that happiness, that moment, that feeling, that passion, like that's what you're supposed to have. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna chase it.
That's
And
dope.
like that literally was that's the gap.
And probably so important too that you had got to this place, you arrived to this place where, you kind of filled the buckets. Okay, I'm making the money, and I'm sure you're experiencing yourself in that role as a GM where you're actually becoming more connected to yourself as a business person now too, not just right. Like so you are connecting with that identity. I'm a firm believer that our identity shapes our reality, right? And so now you're like getting these ingredients in, but then that, you're still feeling, this kind of like maybe pebble in your shoe of not feeling whole or complete. And then you're on that plane, you get that moment and you're like, fuck it, I'm going. So you essentially kind of already had, some level of confidence in yourself, even though you didn't necessarily know where the fuck next was. You just knew that you had to act upon that
I,
feeling that,
I had no idea what next was.
yeah.
In fact, like I mean, I could play that whole weekend back out for you. I mean, where the girl I was dating at the time, we were flying to see her parents, and I'll never forget. Like when we landed, I told her I was like, I just did something crazy, and she was like, "What'd you do?" And I was like, "I quit my job." She's like, "Are you fucking serious?" And like, mind you, like her values in life were
Mhm.
like security was like number one, and like you want to talk about like awkward for like 30 minutes, it was really awkward. Um, but like you know, she's like, "All right, well, whatever. I trust you. I'm sure you have a plan." And I was like, huh, "Yeah, some plan I have. Like, I don't really have any plan, but okay, sure, like whatever." And you know, I'll never forget. Like, I was calling people, asking them about their brands, and but you know, it's crazy. I've never drawn this connection until right now. I identified 3 brands at that moment that I thought had potential, and I reached out to each of them, and I was like, "Hey, I could add value to your brand. Do you want to work together?" And you know, it's crazy. And I literally, like right now, like light bulb moment, never have talked about this or even thought about this.
Love it.
Is what I do for a living now is I accelerate other brands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, like that moment where like I was most creative, most free, what did I do? I saw someone's brand and I was like, I can make you more, right?
Yeah.
I can make you better. And like now, like what am I known for today? I make you more, I make you better. Like it's crazy. I've
Yeah.
never put that together until right now. But like, holy shit, like in your
That's
most
amazing.
vulnerable moment, like the most real, raw, authentic version comes out. And it's crazy. Like I mean, I can tell you what I do right now is what I'm meant to do. Like I feel like I'm very good at it. I feel like I love to do it. It's not hard to wake up and do it. I love it. So no,
That's so badass. And I love that you just had, it was like almost like an epiphany. And it's something
yeah,
that
it was.
yeah. And you know what's dope is that, sorry, if I look down, that's because Donna Summer just started fucking playing on my phone. It was I love her. No, but and it goes back to the beginning of the conversation where I said, I feel authenticity and I feel that passion and I feel like all that stuff kind of works together because when you're operating from this place of real passion, you're not following you're not following anything out there. It's like my term is you are a path creator. I actually have my first guided journals coming out, but the title of it is you are the path. It's like you are operating from such an internal source of inspiration and passion that you're fucking, you don't even realize sometimes where you're pulling from and where you're really channeling yourself. But yeah, I'll go on a tangent. Sorry, let me let me pull us back in. But anyways, it's fun, because I've listened to so many talks that you've had, and we're certainly going to dive into, fucking nutrition and the business. But I think it's so important, and this is just a personal interest of mine, is always like, where does the person come from? Like, again, it's not just because we're going to sit here and talk about adrenal fatigue and all, the weight loss and body composition, all those things, but it's like, what drives that person to become excellent in their process, to exude greatness in their character, to be at such a level, and I'm putting this on you, where you're a fucking authority. And it's it's and not everybody has that. You can take two people that know the same shit and they're not going to come across the same. So what makes that difference? And oftentimes I feel like, it's digging into the backstory and like peeling these layers back, because, attributes, core values, all these things are really what, formulate the identity that then creates the person's, reality and their impact in
Yeah.
this world, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because I made a post last night in like one of my communities, and I was having this conversation with a private client. I'm like, oh, you guys just inspired a post. Like, I'll be right back. And it was everyone says like, why me? Why me? And on the other side of that coin is like, why not me? And I truly have lived a life of why not me. I'll use the golf reference. Like, I picked up my first golf club at the age of 14, and my first driving range session, I probably missed the ball more times than I hit it. Right? Like, it was really bad.
Yeah.
And I had no business in any way becoming a professional golfer. But I promise you, I left that first range session thinking I could be the best in the world. Um, I'll never forget the first time I did CrossFit. I literally sent out an email blast to my list at the time, which was probably 5 people. But I was like, I'm gonna be the CrossFit Games champion. Like, I can be the best in the world. And when I started a nutrition coaching business, like, I'll be the biggest in the world. And when I started business coaching, like, I will build the biggest consulting company in the world. And I've never understood thoughts otherwise, because I also view success to be an inevitability, not really an option, right?
Yeah.
Failure is the choice. Success is inevitability. It will happen. If you acquire enough skills and you do the reps, it actually becomes highly unlikely and unreasonable that you will not become successful. The problem is that people make the choice to quit before they get to the inevitability in their life, right? So we're all supposed to be something. We're all supposed to do something. We fuck that path up at times, but at some point it's going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
We just make these crazy choices that are out of alignment.
Yeah.
And so I've always like the one thing I think that's carried me through this, I think like where you're going is, I've always taken actions and I've never had an expectation. People are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just doing it. I don't know. Like, and people are like, yeah, but like, why? I don't know. Like, wait, like what's gonna happen? I don't fucking know. And the truth is, I don't. And you know what? I'm above ground this morning. Life's good. And I'm on a podcast with you, and I hope one person hears this, and I hope their life has changed. Like, life's good.
Yeah.
And like that's dope, and it's like, man, think about, okay, the person that helped me out of anorexia. Like, I've gotten to know her very well, right? She's a trainer, and I look at all the things in her life. And I promise you, there was something that triggered her to have the conversation with me when she did, and almost facilitate an intervention. And it's like, I bet she didn't know at the time why. And had she questioned why and made decisions off of why, she may not have helped me.
Right.
And so I think if we just live and we just do and we just be and we just enjoy, like, again, that success, it's an inevitability. Nobody was put on this earth to fail. Nobody.
It's like a fucking byproduct.
That's it.
Yeah. No, I believe that, especially when you're operating from, I think, your most authentic self. I think that's really important. So yeah, no, I love this. It's fun to know you more. Okay, I'm gonna pivot a little bit because I can literally hang out there for a long fucking time with you.
I love it. I love it.
I actually want to move into, I'm going to start picking your brain around nutrition and body composition. But what I actually want to start with, if you're cool with it, is stress. There's a post that you just put up. Actually, a couple of things, like your last video I watched yesterday, was so great. But I'm gonna read, if that's cool. I want to read. Okay, cool. So this was 3 underrated ways to improve body composition. Number 1, stress control. Number 2, improve sleep. Number 3, parasympathetic inputs. I'm going to go ahead and read the caption. I'm going to do it to my best ability. Right. So, we often think of body composition change purely from a nutrition training perspective. But if we dig just a little deeper, we quickly realize that nutrition and training are a function of stress and adaptation. At the core of all physical change, we are intentionally imposing a stressor to ultimately facilitate the desired adaptation. Easy, right? Well, kinda. It would be easy it would be this easy if all individuals had normal, in quotations, amount of stress. But let's be honest, that is just not the case. We are over caffeinated. We don't sleep enough. We have, stressful home lives. We work way too many hours. And oh yeah, we just came out of this crazy pandemic thing. Do you really think our current stress levels are normal? But as we understand that our proverbial stress cup is already nearly full by just waking up in the morning, then we must also understand how it affects the way we manage our approach to body composition change. We cannot continue overreaching, overtraining, and overstressing. Instead, consider the fact that by increasing your recovery, you increase your potential to facilitate any result you desire, all in on controlling stress to create results. Okay, 2 things really quick. 1, I think the value of this fucking topic is so important. I don't hear it enough. I love your specific brain and how you're able to fucking, tease this apart and explain this. I see it so often. I've experienced it in my own life. If I have a deload week and I'm just like doing more recovery, it's like, woo, inflammation's down. Like things. I'm just, exactly. I'm like, there, So, but I also think it's really important because you even named a couple of things, and they're like where the majority of society are kind of living in their stress levels right now, considering all things. So can I pick at your brain a little bit of that, or can you just wrap out about that?
Yeah, let's unpack it, man, as much as you want to know.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, please.
Well, I'll give you foundationally kind of how I came across this, right? And like where my passion for it really came from was, I mentioned I got into CrossFit. And so originally I understood all things body comp change from a bodybuilding perspective. And, circa 2010, CrossFit got really popular, right? CrossFit was founded like 07-ish. I found CrossFit 2012. And I found CrossFit at that time, and paleo was really popular. And I was like, well, I know a little bit, and that's not right. And so I always joke, I was the most hated nutritionist in CrossFit before I was the most loved nutritionist in CrossFit. And I went in and I was just like, this just isn't right. And so then I hired a coach, and I was like, I'm going to go to the CrossFit games, but I treated my nutrition like that of a bodybuilder. So I was fueling training sessions from a physique perspective, meaning I wanted to stay lean. I wanted to make gains. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work, like, because it fails to understand the stress imposition that CrossFit is, right? High intensity exercise is a completely different stressor on the nervous system and physically than bodybuilding is, right? And then bodybuilding has different connotations. Now we're talking about RPE, did you go to failure? Are you doing power? Like blah, 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 right? Yeah. And so I started to realize, oh my gosh, and I'm not kidding you, I destroyed my own HPA axis, destroyed. And I was doing 2 to 3 training sessions a day. Mm-hmm. And I would struggle to get off the couch and go to the second one, so bad so that like when I hit rock bottom, I remember I loved the back squat. I'll brag about my numbers. Like at $185, I was back squatting 535. And like somewhere out there's a video of me doing 405 for 20 unbroken. Like, wow. I had great lifts, right? Yeah. And so I used to, like, if there was a squat bar, Jason was there, right? 100%. And I'll never forget. I went in one day, I put the bar on the rack, I put 135 on each side, I did a rep, and I walked out of the gym. And I was
Wow.
so tired, so over, and I was like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And it began my investigation. It's where I started to understand the role of the HPA axis in
Mhm.
all things change. And then what I started to realize is the HPA axis is largely affected by like stress, right?
Mhm.
And then I started to put two and two together, and it's really where I developed this whole strategy. And actually, if you were to come to one of my courses, the first thing I'll tell you is like over the next 48 hours, no matter what, proteins, carbs, fats, carb cycling, hormones, whatever, it all comes down to one simple thing, and that is like the axis of stress and recovery. And if you don't understand that basic principle, you don't understand physical change. The end. Whether it's performance, whether it's aesthetics, whether it's the ability to live longer, right? The three categories of change. You don't understand the role of stress and recovery. You don't understand those three things. You're just putting a band-aid on something temporarily, and ultimately your system will break. And that was when the game changed for me. That was when everyone's like, oh my God, I got to listen to this guy. And I actually believe that we fundamentally changed so much about how people talk about nutrition
Mhm.
with those discussions, all the way back. And I probably started talking big about this in 2014, 2015.
Mhm.
But that was when, I really started to notice a big shift in how people approach things.
It's so huge. I mean, listen, I'm 42. I'll be 43 in May. My goals and kind of directives, intentions with my nutrition and my fitness over the last several decades has changed. What I can say now, and what has been the case for maybe like the last 8 years, I want to perform, right? So I have various weightlifting, sprints, jujitsu, all the shit. I want to be able to perform well. I definitely have a body composition that I like to uphold, but then I also am very, very mindful and passionate about like what I call age like a badass, right? So it's like,
Love that.
right, like longevity. Like I want my cognition at fucking 80, if I get to live there, to be on fire and get out of a chair without needing your help, that kind of thing. But these are three very specific kind of goals, right? Like, because if I was just focused on longevity, maybe some of the things would be very different and focused just on that. If it was just about performance, then we're going to shift nutrition, and if it's just body composition. So where I'm going with this is that I'm at an age now where like literally what rules me is keep your fucking thyroid happy, keep your hormone, and that dictates
Yeah.
everything that I'm doing, right? Why this is so important is because, first of all, I think that we get this, there's not enough conversation about this subject, but then where it gets really complicated and confusing and sets people in the wrong direction is like there's these kind of blanket statement directives, and when it comes to diet and training, and it's like, dude, how old are you? What's your fucking lifestyle? What's your goal? Like, all this stuff makes a difference, and it really all comes back to, I mean, this piece right here. Does this make sense? Did I say that
Well,
okay?
yeah,
Like,
no, I
yeah.
mean, everything you're talking about is a function of foundational stress, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, as we age, our ability to mitigate stress declines, right?
Hmm.
So our proverbial stress cup has shrunk. When
Yeah.
we talk about like, look at myself, like I have a ridiculous background, meaning I was anorexic, completely
Hmm.
overstressed.
Hmm.
I destroyed my HPA axis, overstressed, and that goes into like a whole nother principle. I believe I'm nervous system adapted, right?
Hmm.
I run a multi-million dollar company, well,
Yeah.
three of them, right?
Yeah.
I let's see, I travel almost every week.
Yeah.
um if you don't think I'm waking up with a super high level of foundational stress, you're crazy. And
Yeah.
so, and I can tell you at 36, for me to go and do CrossFit twice a week is like me doing it twice a day, every day, 7 days when I was like 18.
Hmm.
And it's it's nuts because I hate that, right?
Yeah.
The athlete in me is like, I want
Yeah.
to go fuck shit up.
Right.
And the old man in me is like, pump your fucking brakes if you want to be alive when you're 80, right? And so, it's so different.
Yeah.
And but it all comes back to this foundational principle. The if you're somebody that's eating nothing but fast food in and of itself, like that's a mild stressor, right? If you're having inflammation in your gut, right? So if you've got gut health issues, that's a stressor. That's foundational stressor, right? No wonder you're having a hard time changing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that an abundance of stress over time is going to affect the HPA. When you look further down that cascade, now we're talking sex hormones, we're talking thyroid, right? We're talking all of these things that modulate ability to produce change. And everybody thinks of change, like when I say that word, body fat loss and muscle gain. That's not just change, right? We're talking about facilitating any adaptation. We're talking about, we could talk about all like longevity markers, right? And to be honest, I haven't looked at how stress and I this is an assumption, but how it affects autophagy, cellular senescence, things like that are like that are associated with living longer. But I have to imagine if you bring stress down, your ability to facilitate autophagy is much higher. Your rate of cellular senescence is much higher, which we know will help you live a longer life. But I
Right.
do have definitive research on you want to perform better, you want to get stronger, you want to get faster, you want aerobic threshold, anaerobic threshold, you name it, you have to be close to that homeostatic balance. You can't be stressed one way or the other. And if you want to lose fat, if you want your body to go against its natural instincts, because remember, we're as humans, we're put on this earth to survive, thrive, and procreate, not to walk around shredded.
Yeah.
So it is our body's natural instinct to store fat, not to give up body fat. So if you want your body to go against its natural instinct, you damn well better have recovery. You better not be overstressed. And most people that struggle to lose fat, like that one thing would change everything for them. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and she said something to the effect of like, when I heard that sleep actually helped you lose fat, it changed my life. And it's like one of those hardest worker in the room kind of people. And I'm like, great, but like hardest worker in the room, least amount of sleep, not the most ripped in the room, because that's not what you're going after, right? So you really got to know what are your goals too. You can't expect to get ripped and stay ripped and live to 100 years old. You can't
Right.
expect to get ripped, stay ripped, and win the CrossFit game, right?
Yeah.
So like my guys that are in the NFL, I don't give a shit what you look like.
Right.
Like when you accept that NFL Super Bowl trophy,
Yeah.
they didn't say here's a Super Bowl trophy for having the best abs. They said
Right.
here's a Super Bowl trophy for being the best, for winning the game, right? And I
Yeah.
think people misunderstand goals. That's a whole nother thing. They
Well,
misunderstand that as well.
no, that's huge. That's something I wanted to pull on with you is like, then would you say that identifying what your goals really are and not just in this generic, I want to lose weight, but like what really, you got to dig deeper. Like what are the goals to then better be able to, collect the, valuable and effective information, diet, training, recovery that will get you to that goal. Right.
So are you familiar with my principle that I call the triangle of awareness?
No.
Okay. All right. So I really believe there's three types of goals with any health and fitness regimen, right? There's like, if we'll use like a triangle, right? So up top, there's performance, like bottom corner, there's aesthetics, and then like bottom other corner, there's longevity, right?
Okay.
Simple triangle.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it, right? So
Right.
everything can be categorized somewhere under those three.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we look at the triangle, it's such a beautiful example because each point of the triangle is a maximal distance from the other points.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we chase absolute performance, we'll use CrossFit and football. The more we chase being the CrossFit Games champion, the fittest man or woman in the world, or the NFL champion, the less we give a fuck about your aesthetics and the less we give a fuck about your longevity, right?
Right.
Nobody, I promise you, Tom Brady did not get blood work the night of the Super Bowl, and they did not say, Tom, you're the Super Bowl MVP because you have the best blood work, right?
Right.
They didn't strip him down naked and say like, hey, you won the Super Bowl MVP because you're the best looking guy on the field,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
They
Yeah. No,
cared about his
exactly.
performance and his
Right.
performance only. And so whoever was fueling him should only give a shit about two things: performance and recovery. The end. We're not talking about like, right? And so when I work with NFL guys, their longevity markers, if we were to look at things, they're declining as we go through the season. And that's okay, because
Yeah.
then we get into periodization where there's times where we rebuild that.
Mm-hmm.
But the same thing with aesthetics. Let's use the pinnacle of aesthetics, right? Mr. Olympia.
Yep.
And this is a great one. So when we look at Mr. Olympia last year, Big Ramy, he won it, right? 300 and some odd pounds. And he's just anybody that can have like veins in their ass with 300. It's your freak show. Like it's amazing, right? But so this guy goes out and he wins Mr. Olympia. I'll tell you, there's two things they never asked him for that night. No one ever asked him for his blood work to prove his health, because let's be crystal clear, that dude's not healthy, right? And number two, nobody asked him what his fucking back squat, his bench press were, and certainly didn't ask him to go for a run, because he might have died, right? And so then we look at like the longevity point, and we say, all right, people that are living to be 110 years old. Well, what's the advice that we give to them? Well, sleep a lot, like hang out in like a cold, dark room, and go for walks on the beach, right? So nobody ever accused you of looking really good naked, and nobody ever accused you of being the highest performer in the world.
Right.
And so we have these three very distinct targets, and nobody wants to acknowledge them, because as somebody that helps people with health and fitness, what is the one thing everybody says when you ask them their goals? I want to look good and I want to feel better.
Right.
Huh. So you want to lose body fat and you want to age better. Oh, and by the way, you probably want to get better in the gym. So you want everything all the time. And that's the real root problem, is nobody knows what they're trying to achieve now. And so I live by a statement with my clients. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time.
Yeah.
And that leads us into like a periodization where we attack one goal. We go through a recovery phase. We go through an off-season phase. And then we go into a pre-diet of the next phase. Nutrition can be categorized into 4 phases. And you see it, right? It's really easy to understand with athletes, right? NFL guys, they have a season, they have an off season, right? They go through postseason recovery. They have an off season where they actually get better at the sport. And then they have a preseason where they play the game. Right. Why aren't we treating all humans like that? Because at the end of the day, our sport is life. So when you start
that's huge.
It's crazy.
Well, it's huge, because I was just going to say, I mean, to a professional athlete, or people who are really kind of at a higher level, integrating this stuff, like this stuff makes sense. They're, they have coaches or being guided, but to the kind of everyday person, to the woman or the guy who's listening to this episode right now, who's like not on that level, but wants to, I just wanted to make this put emphasis from your voice that this is a very important component, like to know what your goals are, and then to make sure that this piece of, your content, like the post that I just read, the stress, like making sure that your recovery is such a big part of the game. I mean, one of your conversations with Sal Stefano, who I love, just had the podcast. It was like this little clip, and you ended on, you're like, I would bet over, or something like this, like over 80% of the people listening to this podcast right now, to this, need to eat more and rest more. It's like something like that, which is not, it was something like that, right?
Yeah. I would argue the same statement's true to this. I think that's humanity in general.
Right.
But if you think about it from a dietary perspective, right? Every dietary endeavor does what? It navigates away from homeostasis. And when you look at the typical approach from any culture, right? But especially Western culture, it's like diet, come off your diet. Yeah. But typically come off your diet is more stressors, right? Because it's not quality food. So it's like stress, more stress, stress, more stress. And when does like your average dieter ever return to homeostasis? And they don't. And so honestly, if somebody wants to check themselves and they want to ask themselves why they're not seeing results, I would be willing to bet, I don't know this to be true, but I'd be willing to bet that there's a correlation between the total number of dietary attempts and the speed at which you create results. The lower the number of dietary attempts, the faster you create results. Yeah. The more dietary attempts you've had in your world, the less, like the slower you create results. And I would almost guarantee that to be true. And I would challenge somebody to like look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves, how many times have I tried dieting? Oh shit, that's why my results suck, because I've never recovered from all of that.
Well, that's so huge. And it leads me to this thought, something I heard you say, forgive me if I'm not saying it exactly right, but it's like, you haven't earned the right for fat loss or to, and that's fucking powerful. I mean, this is thought leadership, because we don't hear that often, but it's so true. And it's so important. You have to fucking earn the right. And if you've been on, like most people, especially in, America, it's like the seasonal, like, oh, it's the holidays again, I'm just going, and then, oh, it's New Year's Eve, I'm going into like, I'm losing all, you're on this cycle, even if you're not, a fucking UFC fighter, like going in and out of weight cuts, or, like my brother who's, competing in the Olympia, like you're doing it just at a different level. And so you're not realizing that you are decreasing your ability, or that right, rather, like you frame it, to actually make these changes, to lose that body fat
You
Yeah.
said your brother's competing for you, right?
This was his 5th year. Yeah. He
Okay.
made it
So
to the
so here's a
Olympics.
perfect example. If you were to go to him and you said, "Hey man, do you want to do a show every 2 weeks for 6 months?" Ask him what would happen.
Yeah.
And he would tell you by like the last 5 shows, his body would be non-responsive,
Yep.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's continuous stress. Right? At some point, he has to earn back to look the way he wants to look,
Yeah.
right? So that's that at the highest level. Well,
Mhm.
we're not him. We don't have his level of diligence, right?
Mhm.
We're not
Yeah.
professional athletes that are getting paid to do this. And so even at like the lowest level of diligence, we have to re-earn that right. And remember, I tell everybody, I understand the dietary craze was 1,200 calories are the thing, 800 calories are the thing. Nobody put a gun to your head and said you had to do it, right?
Mhm.
Nobody pulled you into an alleyway and put a gun and said, hey, eat 1,200 calories. You did it to yourself. And I know there was a lot of misinformation, but you still did it, which means you're the one that has to recover. And I hate having that conversation with clients, but they're like, okay, I get it, right? And
Yeah.
it's the hardest concept to really master because it's so counterintuitive. But
Right.
it's I always try to explain it in a way where it is intuitive, to really have the right to lose fat, to like earn the right to lose fat, you have to reestablish homeostasis. So the real question becomes, when have you ever focused on establishing homeostasis? Almost
Yeah.
everybody will answer that question. Never. That's why we have a dietary issue.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's very logical to me. And probably a good place to insert this question. Well, it's really two parts. I'm really excited to ask you.
Yeah.
So, biofeedback. It's something. So, when I said, I'm always like my thyroid. I want my hormones to be happy, and that's really dictating everything in my training and my diet. So, as an example, I'm very strong in the mind, and I know the difference between my mind trying to keep me small and like, oh, I'm being lazy. Maybe I'm not even lazy, but like just like, oh, I don't feel like doing
I
it.
don't think that you're lazy. I
Yeah,
don't think you're lying at
I'm
all.
like, I don't. It's even hard for me to say that. Like, I'm fucking lazy, but like, there are those days where I'm like, fuck, I don't feel like doing it. I know that difference versus like, no, I'm tired right now. Like, it's a nervous system fucking thing, and
Yep.
I can go through and go like, how'd you sleep? What's the stress load in your also, another form of feedback, but I really want you to talk about this is like, just to give an example, there are some days, especially Lyle McDonald, really, I learned a lot from that man about like, he's such a fucking,
He's,
I can't-
Lyle is Lyle.
Lyle's like,
We all love him and we all don't love him, but
he's just
Lyle is
like,
Lyle.
but he really did teach a lot. I learned a lot of valuable information, specifically about like female, the body and
He's
like,
extremely intelligent. He's probably one of the
right.
most intelligent humans when it comes to the female body on this earth.
Yeah, and just like it's almost like nature doesn't want us to, really get into lower body fat, right, for survival and all that.
It
So,
doesn't for men either, to be fair, but it's way
okay,
worse for women.
it's harder for yeah, so it's harder for women to okay. So when I feel, and I know the difference of emotional eating. I'm not really an emotional eater, but on those days where I feel hungrier, I understand that there's something happening in me where it's like, and this, really, you help me understand this more. Let me frame it like that. Nutrition is a form of recovery. So
Yes.
maybe I needed to get more of the, nutrients from my food to help me recover because of what I've been doing. So can you talk about some of these, some of the biofeedback? I mean, I just named a few, but maybe you can just, mention some more, just talk about that a little bit, because I also think that people ask me this a lot, like my coaching, my girls, like, how do you know the difference? How do you know when it's, emotional eating versus I need to recover, or, oh, I don't feel like doing it versus, no, I need to fucking chill out and like do some yoga or go on a walk or whatever, sleep more.
So everything should be reasonably logical. And I think that we all try to beat logic, which is insanity to me. Um, it makes sense that, first of all, I have a saying follows the physiological.
Say it
So
again. Sorry, you cut out.
the physical follows the physiological.
Mhm.
And so the physical change you desire is only going to follow having your physiology on point. And so when we say that, it's like, all right, well, you can't go and starve yourself and expect physical change to happen, because at some point your physiology will kick in and say, fuck you, like, I need to survive. I don't need to change physically.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty logical, right? I ask this question all the time at like our level 1 cert, like, what happens when you start eating less? And everyone's like, you get hungry. No
Mhm.
shit, right? That's what your body's supposed to do. Your body is literally saying to you, hey, eat more because I'm navigating away from homeostasis.
Mhm.
At some point, your body only understands forever. It doesn't understand timeline.
Yeah.
And so when you start eating less, your body instantly extrapolates that to I'm going to be eating less forever. Okay. And it's like, well, what does it do at that point? It downregulates its metabolism. Because if it continues to use up fuel at the same rate, it will at some point run out of that. It will sometimes run out of muscle. It will run out of body fat. It will no longer be able to insulate its organs, and you will no longer survive. You will die.
Right.
Your body is a very intelligent machine guarding against dying, right? at its core, that is what it does, right? It's designed to keep you alive. And so we start to understand there are things, right? So, well, when your body fat gets lower, well, you're not gonna, you're not gonna have more sex, so you don't have sex drive, right? Is not thinking about producing like procreation at that moment. It's thinking about survival. So that's why your sex drive goes down as your body fat gets lower. Your cognition is lower. Your body's thinking about survival. Your thought is not going to be as clear. Your hunger level should be high. At some point, they completely shut off because you have hormonal imbalances. So when something is not logical, you yourself, okay, this shouldn't be happening. I might be going too far.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, if you're just starting a diet and you're like, oh, I don't want to train, okay, you're probably being lazy, right?
Yeah.
Because you haven't been in a deficit very long. You just don't like the fact that you're dieting and you can't have your fucking pizza anymore, right? Like, sack up and get to the gym. But if you've been dieting for like 8-10 weeks and you're tired and you find yourself not wanting to go to the gym 3 days in a row, you might want to look at yourself and be like, I've been in a deficit almost 3 months. Okay, this might be too much. I might need to refeed out for a week. I might need a maintenance week before I resume this. And so logic should dictate most things. It's, can you be rational enough for logic?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
So
what it comes
good.
down to.
It's so good. Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. I think, it's not common. I think that it's more, I'll focus on women specifically because in my coaching, it's geared towards women, but there is this disconnect and they're not able to assess, really put that 1+1 is 2, that
It's,
logic
well,
together.
I think
But
most people have a hard time with themselves anyway. Isn't
yeah,
this is why I had a job for so many years, why all my clients have jobs, right? Because when can you ever be that honest with yourself, especially about something as emotional as your physical state?
I was going to say, do you think it's a bit of avoidance?
Absolutely.
Because, right.
Absolutely.
Because you
Like
fucking know.
when I have a burger and fries tonight, I'm going to justify it with I need to recover. But let's be honest, I really want a fucking burger and fries tonight. And I already made a commitment to myself. So whatever happens between, I mean, it's like, what is it here? It's 4 o'clock here. Whatever happens between like now and 7 o'clock, it is all going to be one massive justification of me telling myself I can have a burger and fries.
That's so huge. We got to put that in here because, it's like, and everyone who knows me, like I keep it fucking real. It's like, because you cannot make progress in any area of your life, internally, externally, if you are not facing the truth. Right.
Amen.
Right.
A fucking man. Like, it's like every program you give me, whether you're a nutrition client, whether you're a business client, whether you're a business partner, rule number one, tell the truth. Right.
Totally.
And if you can't, now, ironically, like one of the first exercises I put business coaches through is a moment of truth. And I have a special way of doing it. I'm happy to share with you off the air, but like it is a dark moment of truth where reality comes out because most people are on a search for tactics. And what you realize is you've acquired how many tactics in the last weeks, months, and years? A lot.
Yeah.
What's the one common denominator of all the tactics? Well, it's you.
Yeah.
And until you fix the motherfucker that's implementing the tactics, tactics ain't going to fix shit. And it's like, and that from an inability most of the time to tell the truth. And man, like when you change that, everything in your life changes.
It just fucking does. And it doesn't matter how hard it is to face the truth. You're now at the official starting point to make the difference for progress.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
100%.
So good. Okay, listen, I have to be mindful of your time. I know you want to get to your burger and your fries. Can I ask you, can we move into business for a little portion of this real quick?
Yep.
I just want to touch on the, and then there's a couple things I do to wrap out the conversation with my guests. But, one of the things that we connected on in our first conversation was self-mastery, right?
Yes.
And, you have a 3-part coaching mastery, and I was digging into it, and I was like, this is fucking great. You mastery of self, mastery of connection, mastery of marketplace. I want
Yeah.
to just say though, too, I know that your business is geared towards, health coaches, right?
Uh-huh.
Nutrition health coaches, but all three of those are transferable to really
Any,
fucking
any industry,
exactly. So,
any
can you talk about that a little bit? Those three things, why it's important.
Yeah. So first of all, mastery, mastery of self goes back to like, literally what we were just talking about, which is like you can acquire all the tactics in the world, all the funnels, all the ads, all the scripts, all the DMs, like whatever. Like if you suck, your business sucks. Period. The end. Like that. Like we can simplify that. We can really easy. And so if you don't master yourself, like you will forever suck shit. And so inside of that, like you need to understand, okay, like what are the stories that I'm telling myself? What are the origin stories that I need to tell in my business? What am I really trying to achieve? And so tactically inside of mastery of self, we look at three things. We look at how are you building your active character? What is your unique opportunity? And what is your future-based cause, right? Those are all a component of mastery of self. And then we pivot to mastery of connection. And most people think connection is like you and I connecting, being on a podcast together. And that is cool, but connection is really like, what are you connecting your clients to? Because most coaches is what they fuck up. They're connecting their clients to themselves. And that's why it's not a scalable model. You cannot scale a model with a key man problem, right? Like, and so if you're the only person that people are coming into and they're like, I'm buying Jason or I'm buying Roxanne, like, no, no, you're not, right? And so what I tell businesses right away is don't let that be the case. Have a unique methodology that people into, you're just the person facilitating it. And over time, your staff facilitates it. Over time, you can teach them to facilitate it themselves. That is what allows you to build a scalable model. And so I teach you to master connection of your methodologies to your marketplace, right? Then we step into marketplace, and this is the traditional like mastery system, and it's what I call, right? And so
Say
inside
it
of
again.
market,
Sorry, you cut out.
it's what I call your machine, right? Every
Got it.
business needs a machine that
Mhm.
starts with lead generation, that has lead nurture, ultimately moves people to a sales transaction and maximizes the lifetime value of a customer. And when you have all of those things present, you're bulletproof. Like you can't help but achieve seven figures and beyond.
That's so dope. And I just need to point out here, when you go back to resignating from that job and following your passion and then just taking like becoming a fucking real badass expert nutritional and just listening and following, and now you're in this place where you can teach. I mean, this formula is incredible. Like I said, it's not just, it's transferable, but it's just I want to recognize you and your process to say that, like, listen, when you really are operating from a place of passion and authenticity and your intentions too, I think that's really important. Like your intentions, the through line is impact, over
Over everything,
everything.
baby.
It's incredible because you are continuing this, you're thriving in your life from an internal place. Like it's got to feel so good. You can say something on this, please, but like for you to, do you ever look back and like kind of just appreciate the your progression and where you're
There's a
at
lot
now?
of there's a lot of emotional moments at night, especially when I travel, when I'm alone and I'm in hotels, or even when I'm at home and I'm alone. It's just I look at it and I look at the community and I look at the people, and I never take for granted the trust that people put in me to change their lives, whether it be physically or the future of their lives, their business. Never take for granted the gift I've been given, like the vision and the things that come intuitive to me that I didn't go to school for, but just things I've developed over time. And um it's just so humbling all the time, man. Like, I still at times identify as the 18-year-old kid that sat on the floor of his room in his parents' house and killed himself. And, here we are today, and we're revolutionizing an industry.
Fuck
And
yeah.
um, yeah, man, like it's I don't always have like I'm usually pretty good with words, but that's the one where you're gonna catch me where I'm like I don't have words sometimes. I hosted a dinner with 65 people, all of whom at minimum, and I don't say this as a number, so I hope this doesn't come off douchey. Like all of the people there were $30,000 minimum buy-in to get into this group. And it's like, really? Like,
Mhm.
I'm the kid that almost fucking died. Like, I'm the kid that was 118 pounds.
And
Yeah.
now you guys want to spend 30 grand to be in my room? Like,
Yeah. That's
wow.
dope.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and
No,
it's
I love that. Thank you for putting that in this epic talk because it's important. It shows. Like I always think of my continued success is proof because like you know, like listen, I have I frame it like this, like I have the heart of the underdog and the mindset of a champion. And that is how I've continued to move throughout my life because of my like humble beginnings and it's just kind of like always this like up and down, you know, family, money, the whole thing.
yeah,
But I've never, you know, I was a competitive athlete when I was younger, running, whatever. I always just had this mind that was driving me towards excellence, right? And it was like I knew, and that underdog piece is so valuable because when you, this is just my framework around it, but like as someone who identifies with the underdog, it's like, man, I know how to take a punch and get the fuck back up and find a way to get better. And I will find a way to get better
yeah,
because that's what the underdog does, right? From my perspective. So
totally.
it's so valuable to hear stories like you in your voice to say like, hey, I was that kid, you know, 118 pounds, like you just said, who was like pretty much feeling like you were at the end of it. And now here you are, you know, with these people who are, you know, all the trust and all the impact. I mean, listen, all my guests who come on the show, I always take a moment to say thank you for being such a fucking awesome, wild, radical contributor, because that's what you're doing. You're contributing. And we need more people to step into this, you know, authentic version of themselves and to take those chances and to, you know, operate from passion and intention so that they can be a fucking their own badass contributor like you. So it's, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
You're
I'm always blown away. Like it's still emotional, right? To think about. And it's just you're just grateful every minute, you know, and it's a reminder to just don't stop and just keep doing it. And you know, it's why we do what we do every day.
so good. Okay. Respect. I keep thinking about you and the burger.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't. I want my bison. Let me ask you this before the kind of wrap out questions that I have. Is there anything that you know you do a lot of talks? Is there something that you don't get asked often, or you know that I know we talked about a lot of things, but is there something that you would like to speak on more, or even just to live in this conversation? And no worries if not, but
Nothing that really comes to mind. You know, the one big thing I think that I'm really bullish on right now, more than anything, is the whole notion of why not me. And I think more people need to think that way. Is, you know, there's some absurdities in life that I know will come true for me. One of them is I'm gonna speak on stage with Tony Robbins. Like, and so he's the greatest speaker in the world. And I will speak on stage with him and I will not be that much like lesser of a speaker, right? And I know this to be true. Like I didn't even start speaking publicly until I was in my 30s. And at 36, I know for a fact I will speak with the greatest of all time. And it's not a matter of if, it's more a matter of when. And everyone's like, how do you have the right to think like that? And the truth is I don't. But I was put on this earth with a heartbeat and a vision. And so I do have the right. And I'm going to take every advantage of it. And my question to everybody is like, what is your vision? What are you going to, like, what absurd thing are you going to achieve? And fuck anyone that tells you you can't. Like, just go do it.
so
That's like,
fucking
I
good.
think that's like the one topic that I'm so big on. Like I just want people that no matter what you think of where you're going, like fuck that, like just see it, just go do it. And like it's, again, like success is the inevitability, it's not an option. Failure is the choice, right, that gets in the way of your ultimate success. And so, man, like when you do that, it's game over.
So good, Jason. And I can tell you, I know that's going to happen for you. Go back to the very beginning, before I knew you, before Chase, whatever. I was like, you speak really well. Like you impact with your. It doesn't happen with everybody. There's there
I super appreciate that.
yeah, no, it's, I mean, it's real. It's real. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Maybe I'll be in the crowd when that happens.
Love it.
Okay. So one question, and then I do a series of rapid fire words. You don't have to be rapid in your answer. You can if you like to be. The question before the words. If you had a magic wand, you may have already said it, but if you had a magic wand and you can give the masses one habit that would have a large positive ripple effect in their life, what would it be and why?
A habit.
Mhm.
I'm gonna call it throughput, meaning like you say you're going to do, you actually fucking do.
Yes.
And like I think so many people make, well, I'm gonna call them declarations, which is really being nice to what a lot of people do, but so many people say things and they don't do that. I think if there was one thing that could change, like right now, if you said you were gonna do something, come hell or high water, it happened. That would change lives everywhere. And that's, I try to live that way. If I make a statement, no matter what, I'm gonna follow through.
I love that. I giggle because people that you don't know me as much as, right? It's like
Right.
people listening are like, oh shit, these two. Because one of the things I always talk about, one of the major, from my experience and opinion, one of the major components that build self trust is you back your shit up. I have
Yeah.
proof. When I say I'm gonna do something, it fucking gets done. So even
Yeah.
if there's some new endeavor or something that's like big, and I'm like, oh shit, and I say I'm going to do it, well, I can look back and go, yeah, but you know what? Every time you said you're going to do something, you did it. So you're, you're going to do this too. So I love that. Thank you.
Love it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the rapid fire words again, however you want to, whatever comes top of mind and top of heart when I say these words to you.
Okay.
Ready? Okay.
Let's
First one
do
is
it.
love.
Unconditional. Like love should always be unconditional to yourself, to others, whether it be friends, family, significant others, to yourself. It should always be unconditional. It keeps the world going. So, but it should always be unconditional.
Beautiful. Fear.
Fuck it. Um, like it's the one thing that fear has no hold of you unless you allow it to, right? And so I think most people need to look at fear and just say fuck fear, and stop running from it, run to it. But just like failure, it only dictates your life if you allow it to. Fear is going to be present no matter what. I've never met a person that lacks fear. um, it's all a way in which you channel it. So fuck fear.
Yeah. Challenge.
Love it. Bring it. I think every successful person wants it, right? I think if you're running from challenges, you're running from growth. Challenges are what allow us to grow. So find them.
So good. Passion.
Life. Like, uh, if you don't have it, you don't have life, and I think that that's for yourself. I think it's for romantic relationships. I think it's for friendships. I think it's for your business. I think it's for your impact. If you don't have it, find it, right? Because
Yeah.
passion is life.
So good. Courage.
Man, that's a good one. Create it, don't find it. um I think so many people look for courage. You don't find courage, you create it. um One day and you decide you have it. And I think so many people are spinning wheels, finding it, searching for it. And I think it's another form of saying they're searching for external validation. Validate yourself, create your own courage, and I think you'll be good.
So good. Curiosity.
Makes the world go round. I think I encourage everybody I meet to be curious and stop accepting facts as truth. Be curious enough to make sure they're the truth. So I think the most curious people have truly made our world what it is, and I respect that and I love that.
So good. I love that. Two more. Okay. Resilience.
Man, how do I sum this up? Because it's the single thing every successful person has. Nobody's been gifted the top of the world, and even if they have, they've fallen off their perch. um you know Resilience is the definition of success in my opinion, right? And I'll probably get flamed for saying this publicly, but who comes to mind is like Justin Bieber, right? Like, kid was on top of the world, and he had everything, and then he had everything taken from him. And I think if you look at him today, he's very well liked again, and he's very well respected again, and that's resilience. He had to create that. Just like courage, don't find it, just create it. You are resilient. It's within you, but again, it's a choice.
Yeah. So good. Final word. Excellence.
It's what I'll try to stand up. It's what I'll try to live every day. But you set your own standard of excellence. So don't live up to someone else's standards and don't allow other people to tell you what your standards are. I have a standard of excellence that I think lives above 99.9% of people in this world. And even though people are sometimes very congratulatory of success, I believe I'm far below what I believe excellence to be. I try to live with excellence every day, but when I exit this world, I've yet to achieve excellence, and that's because my standard is super high. So define it, make it really high, and fucking go create it.
So good. You're the man. I loved every minute of this talk with you. I appreciate you so much. You carved out so much time, and I just, yeah, again, thank you for the time and for being such a fucking powerful contributor. And I know that you haven't even scratched the surface, which is a huge statement because you've already accomplished so much. But I'm excited to witness you and to support you in any capacity that I can as you continue to chase that excellence and make fucking impact over everything in this world. So thank you.
Wow, everything. That is those are humbling words, and from somebody that I respect a lot. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. I hope I added value to somebody, and I hope that this truly impacted at least one person that listened. And if it did, happy to connect with everybody, and to share whatever I can with anybody. So I always say this: I've been gifted with a lot of opportunities to do podcasts and public events, and I'm not the one that needs to be thanked. You are. You're the person taking time out of your life consistently to put together amazing human beings in one setting, one podcast platform for people to come and listen to and consume and get inspired and become successful. And so I appreciate you. I thank you for piecing all of this together. We're adding value to the value that you've already created. So appreciate you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. My smile's at this. Thank you. Okay. Can you guide, everything's in the show notes, but can you guide our listeners, our viewers, best place to find you, to potentially work with, just to connect with you, all the things?
Yeah. Connection's everything to me. So let me steer you in the right direction. If there's anything I can do for you, Instagram is the best place. At Jason Phillips is nutrition. Hit me up, send me a message, tell me you found me here. I answer as many messages as I can. I try to make it 100%, not like I almost always do. It might take me a couple days, but always send me a message. I will get back to you. And let's just connect. Whatever I can do for you, don't hesitate to ask.
Okay, perfect. All right, Jason. You and I will be having more conversations, but thank you again for this one. And yeah, thank you so much. I'm stoked.